Well, it's a privilege today to have Tyson Yonkers on here. And he is the founder of Acton Academy. Tyson, it's such a disruptor in the world of education, but we've got to start with the backstory. So, was your background in education? What did you do previously? Share with us the journey to finding and founding this academy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started mine is Acton Academy Palm Beach, so we're the one down in Florida. And yeah, for me, really, COVID is sort of where it all started, to be honest, because before that, I was working in marketing. I was a creative director and a brand strategist for many years. And during COVID, my children's school they closed down, and everybody said, "Oh, it's going to be 2 weeks, and that's it." And obviously, that kept going. It kept going, and I'm like, I don't really know what their plan is. And then they tried to go virtual, but the problem was my children were in a Montessori school, and Montessori is very hands-on. And I'm like, I don't know how they can really do that at home. And honestly, what they put together, while they tried their best, really wasn't going to work, not for what seemed to be continuing on and on. So I took that opportunity to really homeschool my kids. I ordered some materials that I heard from a good friend of mine worked really well with his family. And I didn't really know at the time, but it ended up being very similar to kind of an Acton approach, which is that I'm giving them something and stepping back and letting them try it, letting them make mistakes, letting them learn from those mistakes. And watching them do that, I started really connecting with that style of education. And I said, okay, well, the problem is my children are going into the last year of Montessori. And I'm like, well, where do I send them next? And I wanted a school that was like that. And when I was trying to find something, I came across at the time Acton Academy. I read all about it, and it quite literally my first reaction to it, I was like, that doesn't work. That's just ridiculous. And I'm like, but I was so intrigued by it that I kept reading about it. I kept learning more about it. I visited some of them, and I just fell so in love with it to the extent that I said, if I could have my hand in my children's education, I would absolutely love it. And if I could offer this kind of education to families all around me, I'm like, that would be even better. And so it really almost kind of not expecting them to say yes, but I put everything I could into the application process, and it was an extensive one at that. And they just saw how passionate I was about it, and how passionate I was about my own children's education and education in general, just from that little, almost we'll call it experiment of it, that sure enough, they accepted it. And part of that was moving from New Jersey all the way down to Florida to open it, because when I put my name in to open it, my wife said, "What if we consider moving to Florida?" And I'm like, I'll just put the name in down in West Palm Beach and see what happens." And so when we got the okay, it was like, oh, we now need to decide if we're not just opening this, but if we're moving to another state to open this. And sure enough, we did it though.
What a leap of following a dream and a vision. So you kind of touched on it, but share a little bit more. What are some of the biggest differentiating factors that make their curriculum, their style of learning? I know you mentioned that the ability to try things and fail, but what are some other things that
Yep.
really make the approach so different?
Yeah, it's a great question. For me, it's like there hasn't really, like, since I started on this journey, there hasn't been a day where I haven't talked to a parent who I've heard them say it as they're watching their children's spirit, creativity, and even their passion for learning diminishing. But I always looked at them like, I don't understand that, because children are more curious and excited than ever. And really started looking into them, like, where's that coming from? And I knew the problem started at school. And when I was looking at that, like I said, the different kinds of school, and I saw what Acton Academy had, I realized that it's something that not only makes education fun, but it makes it as close to the real world as possible. So with our school, for example, to start with, it's learner driven. And so what we mean by that is we're putting all decisions, big and small, back into every child's hands. Second of all, we don't have tests or grades, because tests and grades really kind of only show how well a child can memorize something. So instead, we actually go the Boy Scout way, and we offer badges. And the badges can only be earned through mastery of everything from math to collaboration and mentoring skills. And really, like, to me, one of the best parts and what I connected with the most is the fact that we're a hands-on project-based school. So children really learn by doing everything from gardening to starting a business, because we really focus on character, because really the who you are as a person gets established at a really young age. And speaking of like the starting a business, one of the most important character traits comes from being an entrepreneur. And so we have children as young as 7 who are actually learning how to run a business by actually setting up and running a business. And while that's amazing by itself, it's the life skills that a child learns from taking on that entrepreneurial role is something that is invaluable no matter where they go in life.
That's amazing. And the way you said it, we saw this opportunity moving. It sounds so seamless, but I'm sure there were plenty of challenges, plenty of unexpected bumps in the road. Why don't you share some of those and how you overcame them in order to make this successful?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, definitely never heard anybody say opening a school is easy. And I got to really learn that firsthand. So when we came down here, I fully intended for the school was originally called Acton County West Palm Beach, because I'm like, all right, I'm going to see if I can find something West Palm Beach. And I looked and looked and waited for places to pop up a building, anything that would work. The closest I got to a building that works is a room that had no windows. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how much parents will like that one. So I kept looking, and eventually I started going, okay, I need to find somewhere that has where I want the future of the school to go. And I found a space up in Palm Beach Gardens, and I got all excited. We got the building, started working on it, and my intention was to open it in August of 2022. And then that's when the I'll call it the one more thing happened, where basically every time I thought I was about to open and be done, there was one more thing for me to do. But that one more thing pushed it back by a month, and then another month, and then a couple weeks, and then a couple more weeks. And it just kept happening to where we only finally had our ribbon cutting in sort of middle of January. And at that point I said, I could take families in now. We can start doing kind of a soft launch. And I said, but I'd rather really focus on the fall and really get this place so incredible. Well, I don't want to say the word perfect, because that's part of the system, is that it's this imperfect system, but I want to get it as ready as it can be to really make it this incredible school and to have this incredible impact in the community here.
So, what would be the characteristics of, what these parents were looking for when they decided to, enroll their kids at your academy? Is it frustration with the former system? Just looking for a change, something new for their child? What are the things that draw parents and kids to your school?
Yeah, it's really, we're at a point now where families, at least from how I see it, they've never felt more kind of lost and helpless when it comes to their children's education. They seem to want something different, but they either don't know it exists, or if they hear about it, it's sort of this one-off kind of school, which isn't to say that's a problem. But what I loved about Acton Academy, because I could have gone many different routes with the school, but what I like about Acton Academy is that the network is massive. The way kids learn and what they do here has been proven by all these schools that have been open since 2009. And, we get questions all the time about, can my child go here? Can my child do this while they're there? And it's like all of those answers, or all those questions, have been answered by these other schools that we are a part of, which has really been incredible. For me, though, the best way of answering it is that the perfect families for an Acton Academy education are the kind of families that, when your child, and they will come home and they're like, this is unfair, this is what happened, I don't like this, they are the parents who look at the child and say, great, what are you going to do about it? Because ultimately, like I said earlier, our school is putting all decisions, big and small, back in their hands. We don't have teachers, we have guides, and we mean that very specifically, because our guide's job relies on them not answering questions. They have to answer questions with questions. So if we're not teaching them and we're not telling them what's right and what's wrong, it is their school to make those changes in. So when they have a problem, it's not because of something I did as an owner or one of the guides did, because we're not doing anything in that regard. So when they have these situations, they can fix them themselves. this is a school to really not just build up character, but to build that independence, that resilience, and discipline that they're going to need in the real world. So we're really looking for that kind of mindset from families who are, they're looking for a school where, yeah, their child's gonna have some days where I always say, like, the best child is one who 1 week goes home and says, this is the worst school ever, I hate everything about it, and then the following week is like, this is the greatest school ever, I just want to be there all day. Because ultimately we know we're doing something right, that they're experiencing what the real world is going to be like, that they're going to throw curveballs at, there's going to be problems, but ultimately they're in a space that they can try, fail, and try again.
So real life setting from the beginning. That's incredible. It's
Exactly.
life. Yeah, absolutely. So in closing, what do you see for the future of the Academy? I mean, are you looking at personally opening up, continuing to expand, or just expanding this one location? What are your future goals?
Yeah, so for me, I definitely intend to have multiple locations in Palm Beach County. And this location, we get a lot of families in who come in for tours, and we always tell them that it's like, listen, this is where we're starting. We did a lot of work to make the space incredible and to work really well. But my ultimate dream is that down the road, and not far down the road, that we actually have a beautiful campus with lots of outdoor space. I want to spend as much time outside as we can. And I really want to have a space that just, embraces learning and trying.
That's amazing. And so, Tyson, thanks so much for sharing the journey. In closing, where can people find out more about your schools? Where can people reach you? What's the best way to get in touch?
So right now, everything we have is basically on our website, which is actonpalmbeach.com, all one word. We have everything from, in the footer is a phone number and email address that they can get directly in touch with me. And if they go to schedule a tour on the site, they actually we just set it up so that they can pick a date that works for their schedule instead of having to go back and forth by email 100 times. I just wanted to make it convenient. And it is the best time right now to come in for an open house. We're busier than ever, but it's honestly, I love showing people what we've created here.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And we look forward to watching you grow and continue to expand.
Thank you. I appreciate it.